of all the different combinations, and with the markings they supply you can do 7 different models. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and I'm here today to have a look at quite an interesting kit of an aircraft that I quite like, simply because during my childhood it was quite in the news. So I'm going to be looking at this. So this is the Kinetic Gold series of the Harrier GR1/3. So with the kit, it gives you all the parts to make either the GR1 or the GR3. Now it was quite big in the news during my childhood because this is one of the first operating vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. So it was quite often known as the Jump Jet because it could take off vertically with the nozzles from the engine, which just made it appear to jump out from its particular position. So they were quite heavily used during the Falklands War. During the Falklands, they tended to be the Sea Harriers because they were on the aircraft carriers, but the general shape is the same. So GR1 is the first that was released, and then GR3 is being slightly updated. So let's have a close look inside and see what the parts look like. All right, so we'll do it like this so you can get a better idea of all the parts. Very nice box art. You can see here which this appears to be the GR3 on the front with the long nose. Let's pop this on this side. Okay, so we'll start with a nice box of parts. It's a very thick box, so there's quite a few parts inside. As you can see here, that's around about 3 inches thick. I might just push this aside and I'll pick out one bit at a time and we'll have a close look at each. All right, let's start with the clear parts. So clear parts here. Let me see how far I can get up here so you get a better idea of what detail looks like. Now the canopy itself is made up of quite a few multiple parts, which makes it easier for masking. Also gives you the options of open cockpit or not. One of the particular items that I quite like is, I'll see if I can get it right without the reflection, is just across here. They've actually got the molded in anti-mist heaters in the rear section of the canopy. The other thing that's quite interesting is that quite a lot of canopies would have a mold liner down the center, which you need to sand and polish off, but these are very clean. So you've got a front windscreen here, you've got the rear bubble there, and then you've got various parts for the laser nose and then also the navigation lights. So that's our clear parts. Right, put that over here. All right, so now we're getting to quite a large set of sprues. So there's 2 sprues here actually. From the top you'll notice that the main sections here, we've got the fuselage halves. Now it's a 48 scale aircraft, so it is quite large, but as an aircraft goes, it is quite compact compared to other things like an F-15 or say an F-14. Now, let's see if I can get close to this fuselage here. Just trying to show you the really fine panel detail. Now with all these modern kits and with Kinetic as well, all the surface detail is very, very smooth. And you'll be able to see just these 2 openings here. These are the 2 nozzles for directing the thrust. So the nozzles would normally this way, horizontal, for horizontal movement. And then on takeoff and landing, they rotate to this position here. And that's all the thrust is directed downwards. So that's how you get that vertical takeoff and landing. Over here, we've got some undercarriage with the particular unusual design. So these were designed in the early 60s, first deployed in the late 60s. They had a single engine turbofan and a very large undercarriage actually on the bottom of the fuselage. And then to stabilize it, because it has stubby wings, there is these the smaller, I guess, stabilizing undercarriage wheels. So there are these 2 struts here. You've got the air brakes, and then over here we've got the sides of the engine intakes. So these particular areas here can either be built as closed, so you've got the blanks across here, which can close them, or you can have them open as well. And the open ones are just on this side. There's quite a few options here. All right, let's see, there's different noses. There's the laser nose here, and then the short nose is elsewhere. Okay, so let's see if we can get an idea here. A bit hard to see, unfortunately, because there's quite a bit of writing, but there's, you got the vertical stabilizers. There's 2 different kinds for the GR1, GR2. Over here we see bits of the instrument panels. Okay, so you got the pilot and then the co-pilot. Here we've got the intake for the engine itself, which is on the inside of the fuselage. What else we have here? We've got the ejection seats. They're in halves. And then there's some STOL pylons as well. Okay, but we'll see what all the small things are about when I look at the instruction manual towards the end of this review. Okay, moving along. Okay, so here we've got quite a big sprue with larger sections. You've got the wing here, so you can see how the wings are quite stubby. So this is the back of the fuselage. You've got these are the undersides of the wings. Okay, so they'll just fit within these voids here. And then on this side we've got some of the stores that will go underneath the wings. You've got some rocket launchers and then also some bombs. Over here looks like part of the, what is that? I can't recognize that. Here's the front of the rocket launchers here, so multi-piece rocket launchers. Try to get out of the reflection. All right, so I'll leave that here for a sec because the next piece has got some of the option parts for the other version. So we've got a new set of wings. I can't actually see the difference in these wings. There must be a very, very minute detail of difference. So you've got a new set of undersides. And then over here, again, we've got a set of different vents for either open or closed setting. You've got the fan here for the engine, and then there's the bucket here for the cockpit. Another set of seats. So some slight differences there. They'll be further refined in the manual, I'd say. So it's good to have some extra bits and pieces. Always like some spares. All right, over here we have some finer parts. All right, so here we have the nose cone for the GR1. This is the short, stubby, pointed one. We've got the nozzles here, which give the forward and lower thrust. Now, this is a multi-piece mold. You see that usually the sprues are all straight across. This has got a section here where another piece has gone through, and this is given all the vent details on the nozzles. So you may not, I don't know, we'll see if we can see that, but it's really nice because that means these nozzles don't have to be multi-piece, they're all molded in one piece, which means less chances of gaps, and also you don't have to worry about so much sanding. All right, across here we've got, this is a cockpit framework. You've got undercarriage wheels. These are quite large, so they'll be the main wheels. Some pylons here for weapons. You've got the gun pods. So I had twin gun pods under these for 2 cannons. Let's see, on this side, we've got some control surfaces. These would be for the wings. So even though they're set to be straight, I'm guessing with a little bit of work, you could have those deployed as well. And then across here, we've got some finer details of more pylons, another set of wing stabilizing wheels. So there might be slight differences from the earlier ones we saw as well. And then a few pitot tubes, and there's part of, looks like a nose gear, this one, with the angle there. Okay, so moving along, we end up with this final set of sprues, which is 2 sets of identical sprue. And this is for all of the other options for weaponry and what's the word I'm looking for? Different sensors. Okay, so you've got sidewinders, so surface to surface missiles, air to ground missiles, and then some drop tanks as well. So over here, exactly the same. So here you probably get a better idea of seeing the sidewinders there. And during the Falklands War, they performed very well. So that was the first time they were in combat, and they were fighting against the Argentinians who were supplied with Mirages from France. And what they found was the Mirages had greater straight line speed, but the Harriers were much more maneuverable. So, and sometimes they'll be in dogfights, and the Harriers would basically put on the brakes. The Mirage will fly straight past, and they'll continue on and take the Mirage out for the kill. So this is all the weaponry, which is very, very clean. They've got all the the side stabilizers. So you just need to glue those in place. You've got these ones here, they're for the side winders, they'll just slide in. All looks very, very clean. As you can see, after we've looked at all these, there's no flashing at all. Basically, on a brand new kit, if you see any flashing, there's not really any excuse for it. So, beautiful. All right, let's look at some of the other stuff. Now we have over here, I've got a sheet of decals, and then we have some photo etch as well. So it's very nice to see quite a large photo etch sheet. Usually photo etch sheets would probably be about a quarter of this. So you've got a few of the recognition type framework for lighting. And then it appears to have some seat belts, and then a few other grills and surface details. So there's quite a number of seat belts just in this section here. So let's see if you can get a better idea. Maybe there. So quite extensive. All right, so we go on to the decals. Now, decal sheet is quite large, really nice, has all the different stencils as well. Basically 8 different versions, so there's quite a lot of numbers. So GR1, GR3, and then you've got a shark's mouth here, which is quite nice. And then there's some other nose art there as well. So the intruder. And these decals are very high quality, printed by Cartograf. So basically if you see a kit with Cartograf decals, you know they're going to be good. So they're all printed in Italy. Pop that aside, let's have a look at the manual. Okay, so let's open it up here. All right, so there's a little bit of blurb here about the history of the aircraft, its operational history, and some of the differences between the GR1 and the GR3. Okay, so pretty standard amongst most manuals. You've got a description of the sprues. They're all marked, so it's easy for you to find where the components are as you're going through the instruction manual. Over here, you've got a description of each part and their letter code. And then over here is the paint list, which shows codes for ammo, Vallejo, GSI, Tamiya, and Humbrol, which is good. It gives you a variety of being able to find the right colors. And then you start into the assembly. So across here, we've got the ejection seats being put together. So you have 2 sets. You have the pilot here. It's going into his cockpit tub. And then here's a closer view of the instrument panel, so you know where to paint the particular colors. Over here we've got the co-pilots. Is that the co-pilot side? No, sorry. So here we've got the undercarriage bay with the air brake. So that's going on the bottom of the fuselage. And then we basically have the, I guess you'd call these support struts for adding strength to the whole structure. So you'll see that as you go over here. So this is showing the orientation of the cockpit, and as everything's going together in the 2 halves for the fuselage, you'll see the cockpit here. Actually, I just realized I was saying co-pilot before, and there shouldn't be one because these are single seaters. So you'll see this contraption here, which is holding it all together. This is where the nozzles will be going for the propulsion. There's your center undercarriage, and then that basically all gets sandwiched together. Okay, over here we've got the nozzle placement. So again, this is the support points where like the backbone goes in to join the fuselage halves together. Over here we start with the front end with the air intakes. So again, you've got the option of the closed version or the open version right there. Same with this side as well. And then we start building the wing. So the wing itself is in one piece with the undersides added to it. Over here we'll go through different versions, so you need to do some prior planning. So for versions 1 and 2, you'll have this particular item in this spot, or you need to cut it off. So study everything, mark out what you need to do to get the exact version right, and then follow the specific instructions that are on each step. Over here, here's the control surfaces, which I explained earlier. So they are separate, but they're in a fixed position. With a little bit of adjustment, you'll be able to cut those and rearrange them. Okay, over here we've got the vertical stabilizer. So again, you've got the 2 versions here. So you just have to pay attention. So this particular one here is for versions 1 to 4. and then this one here is for versions 5 to 7. So slight differences there. You've got the horizontal stabilizers going in, and then the wing is getting mounted on the fuselage. So over here we've got the undercarriage being built. This is the front undercarriage with the headlights on the front. And then over here you have the center undercarriage, which is your main one underneath the fuselage. Over here we have the nose cones going on. So you have your choices of the original GR1 without the laser guiding. So this is the quite pointy looking one. Or there's a laser guiding long nose version, which is down here. So you need to choose, again, it says for versions 1 to 4, you have the short, stumpy, and then versions 5 to 7, it has a long nose. Same goes with the back here. So there's 2 options as well. So slight differences, and again, it tells you which markings use which. All right, so over here we've got the front nose gear going in with the gear doors. And then we've got, these are the stabilizing wing end wheels, and then you have the main undercarriage going into fuselage as the air brake deployed. Over here you've got the finer details, these are sensors going up behind the cockpit, cockpit glass going into the frame. You've got the refueling probe just there. And then, actually, I think I missed something. There we go. And then you get to finish off the understores. Okay, so this is giving you an idea of options, and here is a combination of armament that they would use for a particular mission. So I guess you could do whatever you like. I mean, you could put on absolutely everything, it'll look really awesome. But if you want it historically accurate, then these are the different combinations that they would have been deployed with. So you just need to make sure you decide on what you like there. So let's have a look over here, and then you've got all your different options for different liveries. So you've got the first option here with the GR1. This is from 1970. This has got the roundels all across with a short nose. And then over here we have the GR1A, so slight variation. This one's in low vis camouflage. Is that all you needed? Or did you need me to do the whole lot from there?
Yeah.
Oh, the whole lot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I misinterpreted.
All good.
Yeah, all right, okay. All right, so over here, this is all the different stores. So you can make your selection with whichever type you wanted to fit onto the Harrier. And over here, we have all the markings. So this is marking 1. So as you went through earlier, there was the different assembly instructions for different variations for each version. So it was 1 to 7. So this one here, which is the GR1, this is 1970 version from the RAF in Wittering. Comes with the short nose. It's got all the full roundels in place on the camouflage. Over here we have the GR1A. This is the later model. This is from also 1970, but this is where it changed into a low vis roundel. So rather than having it in white, it was only red and blue at this stage. So hence why it's a bit harder to see. Over here we have version 3. So this is where we go into the GR3 version. And this is still with the short nose. So this is before the laser guided nose. This particular one is the intruder. So it's got the intruder nose art. This one was at Belize in 1975. Over here we have same type as a GR3, again without the laser nose. This particular one is a shark mouth version. So shark mouth looks really cool. Head over here, we start into the GR3s with the laser nose, so the long nose here. This again is at Wittering, but this is 1977. Again with a low visibility paint scheme. It has a camouflage across the top and the bottom, which is identical. So earlier ones had a lighter color. Over here we have the GR3, which was on the Hermes. So 1982, that sounds like around about the Falklands War. So that's interesting because I didn't think GR3s were there, so I thought it was all Sea Harriers, but there you go. And then the last version, that's one of the later versions here, is 1992, set in West Germany. So this is one of the later Harriers, and again it's in a very low vis camouflage, didn't change very much, but it'll have the variations on this particular late version. So there we go. That's the kit there. all in a nutshell. So that is my open box review of the Kinetic Gold Harrier GR1/GR3. You make either version. It's a very nice kit. It has quite a lot of options. So options for the different versions, also different noses of all the different combinations. And with the markings they supply, you can do 7 different models. So I hope you enjoyed watching that open review. If you have any questions, just ask just below the video there and we'll get back to you. So thanks for watching.